Day 2 of our Colorado flattops adventure started like any great day in the wild, with a warm breakfast, the scent of coffee in the air, and the mountains waking up around us. After fueling up, we packed down our rooftop tents, not knowing the twists and turns that lay ahead. Our destination for the day was Adams Lake, a remote gem tucked deep in the flattops. With the Jeep ready and spirits high, we hit the trail, eager to explore what lay beyond the horizon. The Flattops Wilderness is a place where nature seems to stretch endlessly, untouched and wild. As you journey through this rugged terrain, the vastness of the landscape takes your breath away. Towering cliffs rise abruptly from rolling valleys, their flat-topped summits creating an otherworldly skyline, which is how the area earned its name. Covered in a blanket of pine and aspen forests, the Flattops offer a mosaic of green during the summer and a golden glow when the fall colors start to emerge. As you drive along, meadows appear like hidden treasures, sprinkled with wildflowers in every imaginable color. The air is crisp, with the scent of pine and the distant call of wildlife adding to the serenity. It feels like the kind of place where time slows down, and you're reminded of how powerful and peaceful nature can be. The unique flat-topped mesas were shaped by ancient lava flows over millions of years. These formations create dramatic cliffs that drop into deep valleys and canyons, offering some of the most spectacular views in Colorado. Spanning over 235,000 acres, the Flattops Wilderness is one of the largest protected wilderness areas in the state. It's known for its seclusion, making it the perfect destination for overlanding and exploring remote trails. Trappers Lake, one of the largest natural lakes in Colorado, is found here and is often referred to as the Cradle of Wilderness. It was one of the first places to be recognized for its natural beauty, leading to the establishment of the Wilderness Act in 1964. The Flattops is home to a diverse array of wildlife, including elk, deer, moose, black bears, and even mountain lions. The area is a haven for wildlife photographers and those looking to spot animals in their natural habitats. The Flattops boast over 100 miles of hiking trails, many of which offer access to pristine lakes, alpine meadows, and dense forests. Whether hiking or off-roading, every trail leads to a new discovery. The rock formations in the Flattops are composed of volcanic basalt, which gives the cliffs and mesas their striking appearance. The formations were created from lava flows that hardened into flat surfaces, then were slowly eroded by wind and water. No matter which direction you look, the beauty of the Flattops is undeniable. The combination of dramatic peaks, serene lakes, and vibrant meadows makes this one of the most visually stunning regions in all of Colorado. But as with any great adventure, the journey had surprises waiting for us. The trail became more rugged than we expected. So let's talk about taking a Mercedes van off-road. Now, don't get me wrong, the van is an incredible vehicle. It's spacious, comfortable, and perfect for long road trips. But once you hit rough terrain, that's where things start to get a little tricky. First off, the clearance. A Mercedes van wasn't exactly built with overlanding in mind, so the ground clearance is far from ideal. You start encountering rocks, deep ruts, or steep inclines, and suddenly you're holding your breath, praying you don't scrape the undercarriage. You're constantly navigating obstacles that a Jeep or a Land Cruiser would handle without a second thought. In a van, every bump feels like a test of your driving skills and the vehicle's limits. Then there's the weight. A Mercedes van, especially one kitted out for camping or long-distance travel, is heavy, really heavy. And that weight doesn't exactly work in your favor when you're trying to power through soft dirt, mud, or sand. More than once, I've felt the wheels start spinning, and I had to dig in and focus just to keep from getting stuck. You've got to be really mindful of the terrain and how the weight of the van can shift in tricky spots. And let's not forget the size. When you're out on narrow, winding trails, a van can start to feel like a bit of a liability. You don't have the same maneuverability as smaller off-road vehicles, so tight turns and dodging trees can be a real challenge. You're constantly second-guessing if the van will fit through that gap, or whether the next turn will lead you into a spot you can't reverse out of. Another thing you notice quickly is that a van doesn't have the same off-road suspension that a dedicated overlanding vehicle has. So, while those Jeeps or trucks are gliding over rocks and bumps, you're feeling every jolt. After a few hours on rough roads, your back, your passengers, and even your gear inside the van all start to feel the effects. Things rattle, things shift, and you start to really appreciate the suspension systems in purpose-built off-road vehicles. But the biggest challenge is the unpredictability. When you take a van like this off-road, you're constantly adapting. There's no coasting through difficult sections. You're always making calculated decisions, thinking ahead, and hoping the van can handle what's next. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a real sense of satisfaction when you push a vehicle like a Mercedes van beyond its comfort zone. When you finally conquer that tough trail or make it to that remote camp spot, it feels like a victory. But make no mistake, off-roading in a van is an entirely different animal compared to more traditional overlanding vehicles. It's harder, more intense, and it takes a lot more patience. After pushing the Mercedes van to its limits on rugged trails, it makes you appreciate the freedom that comes with driving a Jeep or a Toyota over the Colorado flattops. Where the van struggles with clearance and weight, these overland rigs thrive. The difference is night and day. In our Jeeps and Toyotas, the rough terrain becomes less of a worry and more of an adventure. With high clearance and powerful 4x4 systems, you don't have to think twice about those rocky climbs or deep ruts. The suspension takes the hits, and you keep going, ready for whatever comes next. The best part is that sense of confidence. Whether you're crossing rivers, crawling over boulders, or navigating narrow trails, these vehicles are built to handle it. You can push deeper into the wilderness, reach more remote spots, and really experience the untouched beauty of the flattops. At the end of the day, there's just something special about rolling through the Colorado wilderness in a rig that feels as unstoppable as the landscape itself. What we thought would be a straightforward drive turned into a test of both our vehicle and our wits. The trail was rough, and the path to Adams Lake was anything but easy.
Going passenger a little more. Straighten out. Yep, straight down. Yes, sir. It's my turn.
You sure?
Yeah.
Can we film you?
As we got closer to the Adams Lake Trail, the terrain started to get more intense. According to ONX Offroad, the trail was marked as difficult, and we began to wonder if the Mercedes van would be able to make it all the way to the lake. After a quick discussion, we made the call to split the crew. I decided to stay back with the van just before the trailhead, while the rest of the group continued on to Adams Lake. Better safe than sorry. When you're dealing with terrain like this, it wasn't easy staying back, but sometimes that's just how it goes in off-roading. You have to know your vehicle's limits, but the plan was set. Next morning, we'd all reunite and continue our adventure together. The Colorado flattops always keep you on your toes, and this was just another part of the journey. Tomorrow, we reunite and head deeper into the wilderness. Stay tuned.